Tarek, thank you, sir. Can't wait for Tobias to make his own Bitcoin and we all invest and watch him rug pull us and waste it all on Tim Hortons. As I said, I don't care about digital product. I would love to sell you guys physical product, shirts, keychains, shit like that, stickers, that'd be cool, magnets, statues, whatever. Which, slow but surely, I would love to get on with, but yeah, for the sake of the event, there's not much time. I would never do NFTs, bro. I'm good. I'm never going to do shitcoin, NFTs, none of that. It's just... it's not my thing. I'm not interested. Pleb plushies. I love physical product, bro. I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. My life was all physicality. I like physicality. And I feel like if you are presented with a physical product, you feel that value. You feel like what you're getting is valuable. So that's cool. Sell us a shirt with this stamped on it. You could make something like that. Bro, it's not, you know what? When it comes to making merch and pursuing product, like, if you want plushies, you have to go through a factory. To go through a factory, you need minimum orders. You'd have to kind of take them as some sort of, like, crowd-funded service, right? Unless you had all the money and you could say, hey, I'm just going to buy a 5,000 units and sell those 5,000 units. There's certain products that don't... that aren't very friendly to start with, because you don't necessarily understand how many you can sell. I'm just gonna go Gangplank support, bro. Well, those plushies were amazing. That was my favorite sponsorship. That was without a doubt my favorite sponsorship. Outside of maybe Secretlabs as well, which we still have a sponsorship with them. I don't think anyone's bought chairs, but, you know, maybe. I think 2 people have, 1 person has. The Plushie sponsorship was a crowd-funded thing, and you really could have gone in. HelloFresh was cool. That was fun, too. It was fun, but, like, it's just not something I could keep up with. Everyone's lifestyles are different. I think for the sake of food delivered to your door that isn't DoorDash or some shit like that, like, that's fun, but you could never make it an everyday ordeal, right? Like, HelloFresh was more so... let's cook a weird meal. Let's cook this. Like, let's get together as a family or as a couple and do something like that. Try something new. Which is fun. But yeah, not something you do consistently. Oh, did she really? That's awesome, bro. I don't even know if... that might have been years ago then. Do you like the chair? I think their chairs are, like, incredible with their quality, and they feel good. Like, this does not feel like a cheap chair by any means. The make of this chair is insane. Like, you feel the value, be it you pay a bit of a premium. It's a gaming chair. Oh, you got I have the exact same chair. What I'm in right now is the Pike chair.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Playing scumbags in video games, but he sure ain't one. Well, I like villains. I'd like to think I'm not a villain in real life, but, you know. Villains. BG3 is going to be at about 1, okay? The cloth. You know what? A lot of people have problems with Secretlabs because of the price point. And that's a valid concern because it is incredibly expensive. Especially to be fair, the most expensive thing at a PC setup should be your chair. I believe in that because that is your body. That's your posture. That's you as a person. I mean, it's just too important for me, personally. And that's not to say that your PC, you know, is going to be cheaper than your chair, or this is going to be cheaper, blah, blah, blah. But, like, well, your PC can be as expensive as you want it to be, but, like, the one thing that your body interacts with the most is the chair, right? Imagine if you had a really terrible chair and your back was just completely fucked over the years because you've used it, like, just day in and day out. You didn't think of it. It's like, oh, it's a chair, it's a little uncomfortable, that's fine. But down the line, your back is completely fucked. And that's kind of how I felt for a while. And even in this chair, I try to keep my posture, but I'm hunched over right now. It's just, it's the one thing that's, like, directly connected to your body. You know, the screen and all that blue light shit, okay, great. A little bit different, I suppose, but... yeah, a good chair, I think, is a worthwhile investment, to be honest. Or, you know what? No chair. Get a standing desk. Put that money that you would have put into a good chair into a desk that you can just stand with. So, that's something, too. Like, a lot of these things are... I mean, you take things for granted because you're not having problems now. Right? When we eat McDonald's, we don't feel it. We love it in that instance. You're like, oh my god, a Big Mac, it tastes so good. You don't think about it. But later down the line, you've had 5,000 Big Macs, and, you know, maybe your arteries look like a vein of frozen piss. And you've got, like, shit clogging them, you know? We don't really think of what goes on now. We take it for granted. That's what I've realized, because I've taken a shit ton of stuff for granted. And now you know, reap the repercussions, right? So, I don't know, man. It's worth it, for sure. And, again, that's even if you are going to be, it's if you are at your PC quite a bit. Like, not everyone's going to sit down and say, man, time for a 10-hour game sesh of League. But I feel like with today's day and age, a lot of people do sit down, a lot of people do spend a lot of time at their desk. And if you're doing that, invest in a decent chair. Not one that's like $300, not one that's like incredibly expensive or out of your price range, but you can get comfortable office chairs for less than $100. And again, if you are sitting 24/7, it is worth that investment. Or if you're sitting predominantly in like your hobby time and shit like that, right? After work, whatever. Scam for a bit donation. It was Herman Miller. That's what it was. You know what? It was Herman Miller. That was the other brand that a lot of people say is really good. And I'm sure it is. I've never used one, but... yeah, you can't really go wrong. Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's completely up to you and what works for you. I feel like some of the edge... so, the reason Secretlabs is so revered by a lot of people is... okay, let's say the make of the chair. Excellent. This is quality. This shit is high quality, dense materials. I don't know what it's made of, but you don't feel like it's cheap. Like, you can beat the... you say, back to the coal mines, you little bastard! And it won't break. Like, these chairs can take a beating. But they're also comfortable, right? You know, they've got the lumbar support and all that shit. You can recline it, do whatever you want. But one of the biggest aspects, I think, as to why gamers want a Secretlabs chair is the aesthetic. Like, there's probably a reason it's also marked up a little bit, because they have to pay for the rights to use DC, for the rights to use League. They're not a company that's just going to be like, we want to use your product. For free? Great. You pay to use other people's imagery and shit like that, right? So, these guys are just comfort with style. You know, Herman Miller straight up looks like an office chair. You know, you're going to go in, you're going to sit down, you're not going to think much of it. It looks great. Feels great, I'm sure. But with Secretlabs, again, you do pay a bit of a premium for the look of the chair, right? Like, my gaming chair, this one, is Pike. It's got a bunch of, like, tribal designs on it. It's got his big dagger going through the back of it. It's meant to look like Pike. And that's cool, and I like that for my setup. I'm not one for aesthetics. I don't really care to have my room with, like, 50 RGB lights and, you know, a swinging pendulous dick that's got, like, 15 different vibrating features that change the fucking tone of the room. I don't care. But I think for very subtle things, like, my mousepad is the Bilgewater mousepad from, like, 10 years ago, from the Burning Tides event when it first came out. I still have that. I still use it. And my chair is Bilgewater, too, and that's cool. But, you know, not everyone's going to be like that, obviously. You're going to have people who do want more of a concise, you know, I mean, Ivana's room is literally just pink shit everywhere. It's Kirby's and Gengars and, you know, she's got the aesthetic and the light-up fucking keyboard and all that stuff. My keyboard is used on eBay, and there's dried throw-up under the keys. And it's full of dust. And it just randomly changes colors because I've never used the program. So, you know, not everyone's going to be in that same boat, but, like, there's options. There's always options for kind of how you want to go about things. If you had to decide Secretlab's Herman Miller, do you want more of an aesthetic that is in line with your interests? Then maybe go for Secretlab's. Do you want something that's more standard and a little bit more office-like and you don't care about how it looks? Then Herman Miller, right? Like, it's fine. So, that's just how it works. Office Depot build? What does that mean? Forest Elfio, buddy. I mean, you shouldn't drink old coffee. That's, like, bacterial, right? Like, anything you leave out is going to grow something. Like, what? I wouldn't do that. Nice. Oh. Well, you know what, man? You don't need... Just because gamers use it does not mean you need it, right? If you're a gamer, do you need a gaming mouse? Typically, gaming mice are multiple buttons, tons of customizable options. I mean, with League of Legends, I'm using a Razer mouse because I eventually, when I upgraded my old PC setup, which was a laptop, I think it was for Christmas or something, I ended up getting, like, a bundle deal where it came with a mouse, a keyboard, and, like, a mouse pad. And it came with, like, a Razer mouse. And I'm like, oh, that's great, let me just use that. So, for how I had it set up, it was convenient, it worked, it has buttons. I don't have, like, 500 buttons on it, but it's just a mouse. But you can get away with anything. You know, it's more so the person knowing what they're using versus the thing they're using. Yeah, like, you don't need it to be a gamer mouse. You don't need to paint Warhammer with Citadel brushes or Citadel paint, right? It's not needed, you know? You've got options. Usually, for budget reasons, is why you would change. Or just because it's a better product and there's a better deal to be had. So... You know, weigh your options. I can turn the alerts on soon. Sure. Mamma mia. Super fed. Okay, I turned it on.
First alert of the day.
If they're spammed, though, I'm going to turn them off, okay? Don't spam them. Gave my homie $100 to kiss his current girlfriend. He said she kisses just like a previous girlfriend. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you'd say that. I don't think you want to say that. It's a bit weird. I mean, TF. Why wouldn't he be? It was GP part of the initial 10? TF I know for sure was. Maybe GP was too.
Hello, Captain Lumfow.
Vania, yo, buddy. GP might have been introduced a little bit later, but I know TF is an OG. TF is like absolute thorough OG champ. They're just like, yeah, I like Marvel. Let's put a Marvel champ in the game. And then he's in the game.
Turret plating will fall soon.
I need money, man. Yo, go me! We get the slow push here, but like, I'm just gonna take the fucking wave. I want Triforce. Well, a lot of the older designs were very rotund. Everything was very wide, very blocky. I mean, it was just a time when graphics weren't too good, so things had to kind of look a certain way. Although there was a very distinct graphics or like artistic style to League. But I mean, it is what it is, I guess, right? I'm surprised they haven't done legacy skins. Like, why don't we have a legacy Gangplank skin? Why don't we have a legacy Ergot skin? Why don't we have legacy skins for any of the characters? All we do, they're called traditional skins, but there should be more. There should be a bunch more that look exactly as they would, you know, way back when. Which would be very fun. Maybe for some sort of, like, big anniversary of League. 20 years of League of Legends, they would do that. That'd be cool.
Honestly, I would go crazy for a line of 8-bit skins. I love me some polygons.
Well, as long as they're not like Minecraft-looking, you know, crossover skins, that'd be cool. It's crazy to think that a while ago I was actually very interested in crossovers, and now I don't like them at all. I think crossovers are just kind of devaluing, almost. You just don't... You don't get to see your product in its truest form. And that's not to say that, like, all collabs are bad by any means, but, you know, if you are going to make, like, an 8-bit skin or any sort of skin line, it would be... Well, they did actually do something like that. Maybe not the character visually, but they did, like, the Battle Boss Vigar shit, and then everything akin to that, like the arcade series. But if you're talking, like, an 8-bit, 60... whatever, like a very blocky... looking design. Yeah, that'd be cool. They would still need to make it relevant to like League in its own kind of you know, design though. But it'd be fun. Tibero, yo, buddy. The original Super Smash. I guess maybe it's... I'm sure when it comes to making skins, the number one thing is make a skin for a champion that is popular. Obviously. There's a reason we get 50 Ari skins a year. Yada, yada, yada. I don't really know how they go about designing a skin line. Like, when would it be an option to say, hey, let's do something akin to, like, old video games? You know what I mean? And then who else can we kind of lump into that? It'd be cool, though. There's a lot of great concepts, I'm sure, that are out there, but in terms of what Riot pursues, I guess it's really just what they believe in, right? Or, like, maybe what the market might dictate. So, like, if you do something, if you know that your audience is mainly from China, you know, Tencent, Riot Games, League of Legends, very popular over there. Maybe you want to do something that's Chinese-related, which I believe they've done a bunch of, obviously. You know, you don't see them coming out with, like, a whole hillbilly line where you've got, like, entire characters turned into just traditional, you know, moonshine-loving, three-teeth-having, patriots! Patriots! But it would be interesting to know, for sure. Like, what dictates the theme of a skin line beyond maybe cultural, you know, popularities, I guess you could say. Metrics driven. Well, it's got to be. It's in the pursuit of sales. You don't make a skin and then say we're doing it for the people. You make a skin and you say money and the people. It's a bit of both. Like, the people have to like it for you to sell it, but, like, you know, you can't give anime enjoyers, like, really goony anime enjoyers, fully clothed pirates, and say, man, this is the market. It's like, you know, hey, throw their clothes off and give them some Withers Naturals, and then they would sell. So it would still be interesting, though, as to, like, what concepts they go with, I think, is what I'm more so interested in. Well, the thing is, what I believe in when it comes to, like, the art of a character, splash arts and whatnot, is, I mean, they're given prompts, they're given a brief, I believe is what it's called, and you go through and you say, okay, I want you to create... I think there's people on YouTube who actually talk about this stuff. I don't know if they've talked about the faces of characters, but, like, there is Riot... Like, since it is commissioned by Riot, an artist will make it, they'll send it to Riot, and then Riot can do whatever they want with it. And they typically do something with it. Now, I'm not sure if the issue stems from, like, the artist creating their faces to look a certain way, and then Riot's like, that's great, or we're going to dumb it down a little bit and make it more generic. But I agree that when it comes to splash arts, the biggest problem is the actual face of the character. Like, the themes seem to be pretty okay, I suppose. I'm not really opposed to, like, a lot of the themes, but when it comes to faces, mainly looking at maybe, like, Irelia as of late. I think there was a Fiora skin at some point as well. They just don't even look like the characters at all. And it's like, well, is this Irelia, or is this some, like, generic heroine who's dressed as Irelia? Right? Like, you need to make them look like who they are, and then dress them up in whatever theme you want. You just lose a sense of identity, and the whole point of a character is their identity. That's just their individualism, right? That's what makes League so cool, is there's so many of them. There's so many different designs and regions and just people kind of existing, right? Like, Set has nothing to do with Gangplank. Jarvan, Smolder, Mel, what makes them so cool is that they're so unique to them. They're a one-off. You know, of course you're gonna have overlap and shit, but that's what's most important. It sucks that some of the splash arts aren't so good, though, with making that apparent. So it's, and you shouldn't really be afraid of, like, at least in my eyes, making characters unappealing visually. You know, at the end of the day, you could say sex sells and appealing looking people sell. But what is a world where everyone is so perfect? What is a world where everyone is so visually appealing and everything is manufactured? Especially in a fantasy setting where you've got tons of races, tons of different regions and backgrounds of people and shit like that. Like, it's just not, it's not believable. But unfortunately, it's business. But you still need to have some sort of context to, like, the world you're in, right? Like, you say that's the point of video games. It's not meant to be like real life. Well, then why draw from real life to create these universes and these big vast spaces where people exist and stories are very relevant to us, right? Like, not to say that, oh my god, Runeterra is just a one-to-one of Earth in a twisted way, but, like, a lot of things in stories are inspired by real life. And a lot of these places, Middle-earth, the Warhammer world, wherever, you know, they're not perfect places. Earth isn't perfect, their places aren't perfect. They have living, breathing people going about their days. They're not all supermodels. They're not all magical beings with perfect facial features, right? You need contrast. You need to define characters in their own way, instead of having everyone just be a copy-pasted, perfect, you know, elven visage, you could say. Typically, elves look pretty flawless, but that makes a bit more sense, I guess, for how those guys work in most settings. But, you know, not every woman in League of Legends needs to be the male fantasy. Not every man in League needs to be the young boy's fantasy of growing up and being this strong, fucking, resolute warrior. You know, diversity in gaming, diversity in the world-building aspect is so crucial. It adds so much more weight and so much more believability and so much more honesty in making something that people can care about, instead of it just being viewed as a product, right? And I'm not saying, oh my god, this game misses the mark on big, fat ogres who are... Not every game needs everything, but, like, you need a wide variety of things for the sake of the world to exist, I think. Is what I'm saying. To make it believable. To make people care about it. Like, life isn't perfect. The world isn't perfect. You can make your own little made-up fairy tale and make it perfect, but Runeterra is not. At all. That fairy tale. Well, you know, you're right, though, because well, they're a business, and they're in the business of selling skins and champions who, you know, yeah, are appealing and make money and have a lot of people on board to support their content, sure, but... Jesus. It's just business, bro. That's really what it is. At the end of the day, why do these decisions happen? Business. Money. They've got a product, and sometimes that that honesty, I think, can maybe be lost for the sake of reaching more people and making money. But it's, you know what, it's just my opinion. I'm sure other people would share in the same opinion, and some other people don't care. But I'm not a fan of perfection. I'm not a fan of, like, everyone has to be sexually appealing. Everyone has to look a certain way. Everyone has to be this manufactured object to sell. I hate that. It's just so disingenuous. For the sake of world building. For the sake of you know, some made-up fucking fantasy land. But, you know, do whatever you want. Blank slates. Well, I'm sure a lot of characters kind of start out as more of... I think when they talked about character creation in League, I think some of it stemmed from, like, how do we make this fun, and then how do we make this interesting? Fun as in, like, abilities and concise kit. You know, what is this character meant to do in-game? And then they can kind of build around that. I think that's what I heard. I can't be for certain, but, you know... I'm not sure they're going to go write a story about some giant ogre in the Freljord and then say, oh, here's his kit. I think they designed the kit first. And then give it whatever aesthetic they want. Same designs. You know what? It's just what sells, bro. At the end of the day, we may be disappointed, but it's just business. I can't argue business. Like, I can't argue that a company wants to make money. I guess it's more so how they make that money. But, like, if their audience wants 500 Lux skins, if their audience wants 500 Ari skins, and they're all kind of Gunnar-esque, then I guess so be it, right? Like, if they're the vast majority of the people who have that voice, they're going to be heard more than... the Gangplank main with, like, you know, an interest in pirates or whatever. You have to serve everyone eventually, but, like, they will take priority, for sure. Like, that's, without a doubt, it's just business. And that's fair. It makes sense. Like, I'm actually not incredibly disappointed that we haven't been getting Bilgewater content. I would like it, but, you know... You give Ari 500 skins and then we'll get one. That's fine, sure. It's the design, yeah, the narrative comes after, of course. Well, you know why, though? It's because at the end of the day, people don't play a character for their lore. People play them for how fun their buttons are to press. The average League of Legends player, the average gamer, plays that way. That's normal. So that makes complete sense, yeah. Like, as much as I like Ornn, I would still play GP. I like his kit more. Even though I like both champs, but... Jesus. What the hell?
Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
Well, you know what? I don't think we could have done anything about
Serious
this game,
question,
to be honest.
do you pee on the floor or toilet when you are taking shower time?
I pee in my mouth, then I drink it, and then I recycle it into pee. And then I drink more of it. I can never be parched. Never! That's what you do. Think of it. It's the infinite piss glitch. It's the infinite water glitch. If you're thirsty, you'll never be thirsty again. True. Scientifically backed up. I'm not mentally ill. I mean, you're not supposed to drink that stuff, though.
To drink my own urine? No, but it's sterile and I like the taste.